Thank you, Madam Contest Master, and welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It was the middle of the third quarter when number 9, Chucky Atkins, sinks a three-pointer from 25 feet out, giving the Lakers a 13-point lead. The Utah Jazz call a timeout. Oh, Grandpa, did you see that? Man, if they keep this up, they're going to win this game. Maybe they'll even make the playoffs. My grandpa loved basketball, and he was a huge Lakers fan. And although this was an exciting game, Grandpa, well, he wasn't a very animated sports fan. Unlike my dad, who you could hear from the other side of the house if he was unhappy with anything that his team was doing. But Grandpa, well, he was much more subdued. My grandpa was really a simple guy who enjoyed the simple pleasures in life, like watching his favorite team on TV. A blue-collar man all of his life, I'll always picture my grandpa in his work clothes. Gray slacks, matching shirt, work boots, and that ever-present fedora of his favorite hat, and a cup of coffee. Grandpa loved his coffee, and he always relished his first sip of the day the same way. Grandpa really made my life fun as a kid. I recall so many times when he'd get that twinkle in his eye, grab his hat and say, "Come on, Cutter," and then off we'd go to his refrigerator dolly. Oh, how I used to beg him to push me around on that old red hand truck of his. I'd stand up on it, grab a hold of the rails, he'd lean it back, and away we'd go around the garage and up and down the driveway. One day, he and I snuck past my grandma, who was working in the kitchen, and he took me in the backyard where he gave me a ride on his new motorcycle. To tell you the truth, it really wasn't that much of a ride. He just putt-putted slowly around in a circle, but gosh, it was fun. And then Grandma found out. And before long, Grandpa took the bike back. He didn't mess with Grandma. When I became a teen, I went to work at Grandpa's steel fabrication shop during the summer when I was out of school. And one day, Grandpa decided to show me what he said was the most important part of the workday, making the morning coffee. He took me into the shop office where he unveiled the filthiest, most disgusting coffee maker I'd ever seen. But I watched him closely as he opened the filter basket, popped the lid off the coffee tin, and put fresh scoops of coffee right on top of yesterday's dried up grounds. That's the secret to good coffee right there. I was sure it was the secret to something. Probably botulism. Although my grandpa was good at a lot of things, he made an awful cup of coffee. But in spite of Grandpa's bad coffee, I actually survived to adulthood. And I even followed in his footsteps for many years, working in the steel industry. And then, in 1993, my grandmother suffered a massive stroke and was placed in a nursing home. Following that event, for 4 long years, I watched my grandfather every day get up early and get dressed, put on his favorite hat, and drive all the way across town to the nursing home where he sat with his wife all day long. Then, late that same night, he would drive all the way back home. Every day, rain, snow, or ice, there he was, faithful, loyal, and loving. And then my grandmother passed away. From that point on, Grandpa's health rapidly declined. So, that's when I decided to move in. Yeah, just 2 bachelors enjoying the good life together. It was really a very special time in my life. I remember during the work week, after work, I'd pick us up sub sandwiches on the way home and we'd eat them for dinner. Then after dinner, we'd go in the living room, and if it was basketball season, we'd watch a game. But more often than not, it was probably an old rerun of Gunsmoke or some other Western. And then in the morning for breakfast, I made the coffee. Aside from that, I really had to keep a close eye on Grandpa. His hearing was atrocious, and he refused to wear his hearing aids. Ugh. One day on the way home, instead of sub sandwiches, I decided to buy some Mexican food for dinner. When I got to the house, I set Grandpa's dinner before him. What's this? It's a chimichanga, Grandpa. Jimmy Jackson? No, Grandpa, a chimichanga. And then he ate his dinner. And now here we were, several sub sandwiches and Jimmy Jacksons later, watching his favorite team, the Lakers, play. And they won the game. But Grandpa couldn't see it. His eyes were glazed over and milky, his face sunken, and his breathing ragged. I leaned over him, pulled the blanket up around his shoulders, and brushed a wisp of hair from his forehead as the hospice nurse came in to check on him. Not many days later, the Lakers' playoff hopes passed. And so did my grandpa. It was a little after midnight on February 21st, 2005. Grandpa may be gone now, but still feels like he's in my life. I'm a grandfather too, as a matter of fact, now. And where my grandpa used to push me around in that little red dolly of his, I push my granddaughters around in their little toy car. Oh, and I even have a motorcycle. But I don't give the grandkids a ride on it. No. I know my wife would make me take it back too. You know, I don't know if they have basketball in heaven. But if they do, I guarantee you that my grandpa is up there right now in his favorite hat watching a game and enjoying a good cup of coffee.